Hello, I am Regina Trailweaver. Welcome to this yoga practice to boost your immune system. You'll need a couple of bolsters, a couple of blocks, a chair, and 2 blankets. We'll boost the immune system by activating the relaxation response. Arrange the bolsters across the mat long ways, and then roll up the 2 blankets as I am demonstrating. And one will go on one side and the other blanket will go on the other side. We will begin with Supta Baddha Konasana, reclining cobbler's pose. The 2 blankets are for your thighs, so line them up in a way that the thighs will rest on the blankets, and also your shins and knees can rest on those blankets. And then set your sit bones securely on the mat and allow your ribs to rest on the first bolster and your head and neck and shoulders to rest on the second bolster. Make sure that you feel completely supported in every way, that no part of your body is left to hang. The arms are resting firmly onto the floor, palms to the sky. Make sure the shoulders are pulling out of the ears. You can roll those shoulder blades down the back and then situate yourself. Soles of the feet together, releasing from the inner groin out to the inner knee, letting that tailbone really sink down into the mat, feeling a lengthening through the abdomen, through the navel, ribs spreading, moving into nostril breathing as soon as you can, and from there moving into ocean breath if you're familiar with that breath. Throughout this practice, really noticing the pattern of the breath and what is happening in terms of setting yourself up in these postures to make certain parts of the body more accessible to the breath. Chest spreading, shoulders relaxing, back of the neck and back of the skull completely supported. Boosting your immune system by inhaling fully, exhaling completely, and relaxing deeply. Always stay in these postures for as long as you would like. For the purposes of the video, we will be coming out now, bringing the thighs together, feet on the mat, then rolling over to one side. Always pause for a moment after each posture, and then sit in a comfortable seat for a few breaths, or again, for as long as you like. Noticing any difference between before the posture and after the posture. Moving on, stacking one bolster on top of the other and turning the bolsters long ways on the mat, and then placing the blankets on top of the bolsters. You may not need this much support, but we're coming into Supta Virasana, reclining hero's pose. So for myself, I need quite a bit of support here. I'm even putting a pillow there for my head, and there's the block that will go right up next to the edge of the bolster, and then sitting your sit bones onto that block and hugging the block. I move the block a little bit away from the bolsters and hugging the edges of the block with your inner ankles. Bring the thighs and the knees together. Take the shoulders out of the ears. Situate the arms so that they're pulling the shoulders away from the ears. And again, make sure you have plenty of support for the neck and the head. And again, notice what is accessible to the breath here and what that does to support your breathing pattern here. Again, really lengthening through the abdomen, opening through the hip flexors, opening through the armpit chest area. This is a wonderful pose for digestion. You can even practice it immediately after eating to support your digestion. The enteric nervous system, located in the digestive organs, is an important part of the immune system. So bringing breath and relaxation to this area strengthens your immunity. Noticing what is happening in the body and what is happening in the interaction between the body and the breath. Stay here for as long as you like. Remember to come out slowly, rest on one side, and sit for a moment before moving on to the next posture. Supta Parvriti, reclining twist, beginning in Dandasana with your right hip against the bolster long on the mat and a pillow for your head. And if you like, this is completely optional, you can take the left leg into Virasana, folding the knee and taking that left ankle back towards your left hip. And then really reach that front body out over the bolster. Turn your ribs to the right. Let the left rib sink down. Really support your head. You can use your arms or not. And you'll see that after I'm here for a little while, another moment or two, I realize I really need more support under my abdomen. So grab another bolster or fold up a couple of blankets. Get it at just the right height. And remember, you can keep both legs straight. You do not have to fold that left leg. And maybe you also noticed that the right toes went over to the right. And I roll over on to the outer edge of that right leg. And the left hip is actually coming a little bit off the mat. And now I'm really supported. And although my elbows are above my shoulders, I have really pulled the shoulders out of the ears and then placed the forearms in such a way so that the chest can remain wide and the shoulders can remain relaxed, and sink into the posture. Again, noticing the pattern of breath. Where is your body more accessible to the breath? Here. Notice your low back ribs. The twists are so good for the kidneys, the adrenal glands, for digestion in general. Again, coming up slowly, pause for a moment, and prepare for the other side. I like to just turn around because it's important to move with as little disturbance as possible. Now the left hip against the bolster. Again, you can keep that right leg straight. It does not have to be in Virasana. Always get your hair just perfect. You'll notice my hair becomes more and more disheveled as I become more and more relaxed. When you're really relaxed, you don't really care about your hair. Again, you can see the elbows are very relaxed. Shoulders are out of the ears. You don't have to turn your neck all the way if that doesn't feel good for your neck. Most of us feel more range of motion on one side of the neck than the other. That's natural. Again, noticing the pattern of breath. What part of the body is most accessible to the breath here? Feel the gentle pressure of the support beneath your abdomen, working with the breath to massage the organs of digestion. Same posture, but different side. So notice the differences between the two sides. And again, coming up slowly, make sure you take a moment to sit. Feel the imprint of the posture, the difference between before the posture and after the posture. For Supta Swastikasana, or reclining cross-legged pose, you'll need two bolsters, one long on the mat, one across the mat, and possibly a blanket beneath your shoulders. Make sure your shoulders are firmly planted onto the blanket or the mat. And then drape your ribs over the bolster that's across the mat. And then set your sacrum and your legs up cross-legged on the bolster that is long on the mat. You'll see that after I'm here for a moment or two, I feel that I'm open enough to remove the blanket. And you really need to set it up in the way that is best for you. You might need more than one blanket. Have a firm cross of the shins. If possible, the feet are just to the outer edges of the bolster, and that will help to hold the posture in place. Palms to the sky, pulling the shoulders away from the ears. Letting the shoulders open, the chest open, the ribs expand, lengthening through the navel. Move your tailbone away from you. You could even scoop your buttocks under a bit. So as much as you are opening in the front body, you are also creating space in the back body. When you feel ready, change the cross of your shins, again, hooking the feet on the outer edges of the long bolster. Again, noticing the pattern of the breath. Where are you most accessible to the breath in this posture? All of these postures open up the armpit chest area, allowing the lymph to move freely. And the lymph system is a very important part of the immune system. Inhale fully. Observe the completion of your exhalation. Notice that even in stillness, there is movement. Hopefully, the movement of letting go. Notice where tension is being released, maybe in places you didn't even know you were holding it. Always feel free to stay here longer. Go for a sense of closure. And when you feel complete, slowly uncross the shins, plant the feet. Come out of the posture with as little disturbance as possible. For me, that means lifting the hips up and pushing the bolsters away until my legs can drape over the bolster that is long ways across the mat, and I actually have a brief Shavasana before rolling over to one side and pausing there before coming up to a seated position. Pause and reflect. Notice how you feel. For Viparita Karani, or legs up the wall variation, you'll need the chair, a block, and 2 bolsters or as many folded blankets as necessary. It's a little tricky getting in, but it's worth setting up here. You want the shins to be parallel to the mat. So there's almost a 90-degree angle in the backs of the knees, and the sacrum is on the block. The buns are slightly dangling off the block. The ribs are fully supported by the bolster that is long ways across the mat. Make sure that there's plenty of room for the shoulders to be on the mat, and that you can pull the shoulders out of the ears and reach the hands away from you, and make sure the arms and the hands are a little bit below the shoulders. Lengthen through the back of the neck, lift the occipital ridge away from you, and settle in. Let the backs of the calves relax completely into the support beneath them. Relax the feet, relax the toes. Feel the pattern of the breath here. Where is the body accessible to the breath when it's organized in this posture, draped over these supports? And notice that I didn't end up needing the blanket under my shoulders, but feel free to put a blanket under your shoulders or your head, as long as you don't bring the neck and head too much out of alignment. Continue to observe your breath. Inhale fully, exhale completely. Notice when your thoughts wander and return to the observation of the breath and to the physical sensations of the body, especially as the body is responding to the breath. Let the abdomen be soft. Relax the jaw. Let the root of the tongue be soft. Also, organs of digestion. Let the facial skin be soft. The lymph system is very important for immunity and usually has to work against gravity. In this very gentle inversion, the lymph can flow freely from the feet towards the heart. And again, go for a sense of closure, feel complete. And when you're ready, it will actually be easier to get out of this posture than into it, sliding away from the bolster and resting in Shavasana, final relaxation. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all creatures be free from suffering and live with ease. Namaste.